Hello, is Mark available?
Who's speaking?
It's Neil Waters. He emailed me his phone number in regards to a thylacine sighting.
Okay, won't be a moment.
Thank you.
Mark? Mark, there's a phone call for you. He's just up the backyard at the moment, mate. Do you mind waiting for a minute?
No, that's fine. No problem at all.
You won't be a minute.
No worries.
One of our dogs just got out of the yard.
Ah, I know your pain.
Oh, little Houdinis. You got a dog-proof fence and that dogs get out.
Yeah, I've got a Kelpie that's a bit of a magician. So you's in Dorrigo itself?
So, it's a man about the thylacine sighting. I'll get Lowering. You take her in. Come on, quick inside. Quick inside.
Hello.
Mark,
Yes, Neil.
pleased to meet you, mate. How you doing?
How you going, mate?
Very good, very good.
Very good.
You got dogs on the loose.
They're right now.
Mate, thanks for your email. I just got it today, so I thought I'd get in touch with you.
Rightio, mate. I've just got to get my notes,
Yeah, no worries. That's all good.
because this goes back to about 1940,
Wow.
48.
So was this you who had the sighting or one of your rallies?
It was my dad, twice, and the farmer down the river about 2 miles from our place.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was in Dorrigo last year.
I know. I was watching at it and I was thinking, geez, Neil, if you only knew where the chalet is.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, that's Mountaintop Road,
yeah.
and there was a sighting out there about 4 k's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I might have to turn the light on here.
That's all good. Take your time, mate. There's no hurry.
Yeah, my dad took up a farm that his father gave him. His father bought Boston Station, which is 9 miles from Dorrigo,
Okay.
sort of northwest,
Oh, yeah, yep.
on the way to Grafton on that back road.
I took that back road to Grafton last year, actually.
Did you? Well, you went right past where I used to live.
Ah, nice country out there. Very isolated.
Did you go to Boston Brick?
Wait, I took that road all the way through to
Rightio.
Gosford.
All right.
Is it Gosford out there or Griffith?
Oh, Griffith, not Gosford, down south part.
What's the name of that town as you're getting into Queensland? It's just south of the border there. That big city.
Ipswich.
Nah.
No, that's further up here.
Nah, it's in New South Wales still.
Mooloolaba?
Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, I took that road.
Alright, well, I used to live north-west of Dorrigo.
Okay.
And that used to be Boston Brick Station. And it was called
Cardinia.
And there was artifacts found there from the Aboriginals.
Okay, many moons
And there
ago.
was borer rings there as well.
Borer rings? What
Yeah,
are
where
they?
they used to dance.
Oh,
Dance
okay.
round in big
Dance,
circles and-
dance
and
grounds.
nothing
Yeah,
would
yeah,
grow.
yeah.
Nothing would grow, where they used to dance.
Yeah, because they've been dancing there for so long.
They were there, yeah, they were there from when I was a kid, you know, and I'm looking like I might get back down there at the end of this year for a couple of days, a few days.
Can I ask you what
Alright.
year you were born, mate?
55,
55, okay.
yep.
So you've
Right,
been
I was
out there
born
your
in-
whole life, that country?
No, I lived there till I was 15, then I shifted down to Coffs Harbour. But I used to work on a gang that used to go out bush and make power lines for all the eastern Dorrigo.
Okay.
And I seen all of that country, Bobo River. There was a sighting there too. All right, let's start here. He bought Boston Brick Station in about 1948, I think, when my old man took over.
Yep.
And that's at the foot of Mount Christopherson. And the old bloke, he used to be a road builder, and he built the Dorrigo Mountain Road, and he also built the road from Coffs Harbour sort of out to the Caramba.
Okay.
Which goes up the eastern Dorrigo anyway, eventually.
Yeah, is that the road that goes through, is it Bellingen down there?
You came through Bellingen. Were you coming down the
Yeah.
mountain?
No, when I came in, I came up the coast from Sydney.
All right, you went up.
Yeah, and I went up
to
through
Dorrigo.
Bellingen into Dorrigo, yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah, so there was a sighting. My brother knows a bloke he went to school with, and he said there was a sighting there on the mountaintop road, and that would have been probably in the 60s, 70s,
Yep.
early 70s maybe. Anyway, right now the old fellow was a road builder, and he had a gang, and then when he bought Bostonbridge Station, he took over blacksmithing and whatever, and used to make a living out of that. And the old blokes that were left over from the gang, they were too old to get another job anywhere much, so they went up to our property, and they lived in the barn, and the other bloke, Packy, lived in the barn, and Brownie lived in just an A-frame tin dirt floor thing. I used to see them come down to the road and pick up their bread and whatever.
So this is back in the 60s when you were growing up, yeah?
This is back, in the early 60s.
Yep.
And old Brownie said, you know, Frank was my father, and he said, you know, Frank, he said, there's two types of dingoes on this property. And he said, how's that? And he said, well, you get the normal yellow one with the white tip on his tail, and he said, then you get the other big long one with the stripes on it. And from where that was said, from his hut, I saw one afternoon late, it was too late to positively identify him, but I think that was a tiger, but he was travelling away from me, and he was about 150 yards away, but it was too dark to see any identification on him because I was looking straight at the arse of him, and it was too late in the afternoon.
Okay, so you got that glare from the sun right in your face.
Yep.
Yep.
Or it was later than that. It was dusk. It was after the sun went down.
Okay, yep.
You know?
But you just
So
saw
it
him
was late.
moving.
Sorry?
You just saw him moving through.
Yeah, he went from halfway across that paddock, goes from the bush and across to the other paddock, the other bush, straight across the middle there. He loped along there. All I can tell you was that it was just steady pace, and I can't identify him, right?
All right.
But I think it was a tiger.
How old were you?
Anyway, I was about 11.
And what sort of distance was he again?
He was about 150 yards away.
Okay, just moving
So
through.
he was going away from me, and
Yeah.
Right, now just at the top of our farm, at the bottom of Mount Christopherson, my dad was counting the cattle. We only had about 40 head, and he used to count them every couple of days, and he was walking through the cattle, counting the cattle up at the top paddock, right at the foot of Mount Christopherson, and he said this bloody thing turned around in amongst the cattle, and he said it had this bloody great tail on it and stripes, and that was the first sighting he had. And then he used to show me footprints in the crossing across the creek. It was an old log bridge with dirt on the top of it.
Right.
And the tractor used to go across it, and there was just dirt, and it was wet, and he showed me footprints.
Excellent.
He showed me footprints.
What did you notice about the footprints, mate? Do you remember?
Well, he showed me the back. He showed me how the back foot goes down on the ground sometimes and puts the pad on the ground.
Yep.
His hock, I suppose you call
Yeah,
it.
they do call it a hock. That's correct.
Yeah, rightio. So that was his first sighting.
Yep.
And then about halfway from there to our house, there was a fence and an old gate. You know the old gate that had four or five side high one lots across it, you know, and then the diagonal.
Yeah, I know the ones.
It's an old farm gate like that, and a wooden gate, and it used to be opened all the time. And the grass grew up and that through behind it, and I've never seen it closed. Anyway, he said he was coming home, and he said it was fairly late in the afternoon, and he said he came around a little pathway, the tractorway came around a little bend like that to the gate. And he said when he got to the gate, he said this thing leapt out at him, and he said when he saw it was a human, he said it shit himself and I shit myself too.
So the animal thought he was food and clearly didn't want to eat a human.
He was going to,
Yeah, okay.
And that was his second sighting. And then, like I said, the bloke down river, he had, that was in 1971. The bloke said he saw an animal wandering with two other dogs, and he said it had bloody stripes on it.
So it might have been a female with a couple of young, maybe.
I don't know, but poor old Fred, he's gone.
Yeah.
See, I'm talking 1960s now and 70s.
Yep.
Right? And he showed me, the old man showed me the bloody wallabies with their head cut off and the lungs gone.
Ah.
And sometimes he used to eat the kidneys.
Yes, they love the blood-filled organs.
And the one thing about it, and I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking, well, it could have been an aftermath of another animal coming to the carcass, but there used to be an inch of the tail eaten off every one.
That's bizarre. Now, a friend of mine in Tassie reckons that Tasmanian devils will do that.
Right.
To a carcass.
No devils up there.
Well, no, this is a tiger doing this, you reckon?
Yeah.
Wow, so they take the tip of the tail.
That's not just one, that was multiples. Every time you found a kill, it was eaten an inch or so off the tail.
Wow, that's bizarre. Maybe initially they grab them by the tail to throw them off.
Who knows?
When they're chasing them down.
Gone, eaten.
Yeah, they may grab them by the tail to bring them down at some point, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
but that's really interesting. That's a great detail.
But that was Fred.
Was there any predation on stock as well?
No, I never saw any. We never had sheep or anything. All we had was
Cattle.
Cattle and just a few dogs.
Yep.
We did have a goat, a couple for a little bit, a few goats, but nothing out of the ordinary ever happened right close to the house.
Yeah.
Close down to the house. But there was plenty of redneck wallabies there and whatever, and that's what they used to eat. And I was lucky enough, one day I found a baskergale.
Oh, yeah.
Under a piece of bark up a tree right next to the house.
Awesome.
Dogs had put him up the tree.
Yep.
And I saw the big brushed tail hanging out underneath, and I grabbed the piece of bark, and he chewed shit out of my fingers, but I got him and had a good look at him, and I took him away from the house and put him up an oak tree.
Oh, yeah, cool.
And
so the dogs couldn't get him.
They were there as well. We used to have to take them off the cats.
The gliders.
Yeah, the feather tail gliders.
Yeah, right.
All right, now 1968, I was going to high school in Dorrigo, and on the eastern Dorrigo there's a river called the Bobo River, and my maths professor, Keith Moxham, his name was, and something took his chooks one day, and he said, rustled them up the next day, and they started. He thought there's something taking them, and he waited. He waited behind his fence of his yard, and he just crouched down and he waited from about 5:30 in the morning. And he said 6:30. He said this thing came out of the bush, and he said it wouldn't have been any more than 30 yards from him. And he said there's no doubt in my mind it was a Tasmanian tiger.
Yep.
And also that was printed in the Dorrigo Gazette.
Ah.
There was an article.
Ah,
Now,
okay.
I'm not 100% sure whether there was two papers in Dorrigo at that stage or just the Dorrigo Gazette.
Right,
But
okay.
it was in one of the papers if there was two.
Yep.
Right. Now that was that sighting. All that eastern Dorrigo, it's just, there's a road through and then there's a little tiny place with no shops, just a few mill houses or a mill, and you go down the next one and there's a, it's just very, not grazing land or anything, it's just sawmills mostly.
Yep.
When I was young.
Is that all cedar country originally?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It was all red cedar country originally.
Yep.
And on our farm, just where that old fella Brownie hut was, the creek started there, and it's called Log Creek, and because they had the log through, the river creek used to run through the log, and they called it Log Creek. And just above that, in the scrub, was where it started, and you could see it bubbling up out of the ground.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, fresh, clean, clear water.
Yep.
And in that scrub, we used to go in the winter time, and Ray Hall said, yeah, you can cut corkwood down if you want in there. It was just a cash crop that used to grow wild.
Okay.
And we used to strip the leaves off it and shove it in bags and take it into Dorrigo, and they had a facility there to break it down and whatever, and it was used for eye drops.
Okay.
Right, now that was a cash crop thing in the winter for us.
Yep.
And we pulled the slip rails down off the old 2-rail fence, went through in the tractor, and we got this huge bloody big load of this corkwood, and then we emptied it off the tractor, laid out big tarp, and then started stripping this. I was only about 6 then.
Yep.
Mum started stripping all this leaves off this thing while I was looking after the few kids, a couple of real little tatters.
Yep.
And she said, I remember she said, quick, get on the tractor, get in the tray. And she dropped the knives, whatever, and she just started the tractor up, turned it around and went straight down through the fence and out down the home. And she said there was that thing, she said, was looking at us from over the back of a log.
Oh, shit.
Frightened shit out of her. And that's the only time I ever saw my mum frightened.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know what that was, but it could have been.
Well, she identified it as that thing.
Yeah, that's all she said.
Yeah.
I knew what she was talking about, though.
Yep.
But anyway, right. Let's go down here. By the way, that Bostonbrick station at the bottom of Mount Christopherson was the largest stand of tallow wood in New South Wales, and the blokes couldn't swing their axes properly because they were so close together when they were cutting them 12 foot off the ground.
Yeah, right.
Their axes. That's just a tidbit of old interest, that's all.
Oh, that's all right. What do they use the tallow wood for?
Timber.
Okay, it's good hardwood,
Yeah.
is it?
Best hardwood flooring you can get.
Okay.
Tallow wood or brush
Yep.
Yeah. Now, that forest where I said we were cutting corkwood, it was untouched forest. It hadn't been logged, and it had fern trees and hanging dicky birds' nests over the creek, and it was a beautiful piece of untouched scrub.
Is it still there, or has it been cleared?
I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been there.
How far is it from where you are now?
I'm in Toowoomba.
Oh, you're in Toowoomba now, okay.
Yep. I'm living in Toowoomba.
Yep.
20 k's north of Toowoomba on the New England Highway I am, and let me tell you, it's prime area here for tigers as well.
Yeah, okay.
And I go looking, you know, every chance I get, if I'm driving from here into town, I always deviate down on the edge of the drop-off, you know.
Yep.
It goes down over, and then the railway line comes through that mountain there.
Yep.
And it's a prime spot for dingoes and that to come along the railway line, and then every little gully that runs up, they're sort of softwood gullies with a lot of wet birds and stuff like that. It's the wet sort of stays wet for longer.
Okay.
And
like bogs.
and something's been coming up and taking the bloke's chooks out of his. We go and feed his chooks whenever he goes out to his mine, and something's come up and killed 3 chooks and ate 1.5 in the pan, and then was gone. I don't know. We were there, maybe it might have happened that night, and we were there the next day. It killed 3 or 4 chooks. Anyway, ate 1.5 of the chooks in the pen, and then the next time it came, it got under his fence in the corner, and I couldn't see any tracks, and it killed 3 chooks. It took 2, and one got stuck in the net, and then he pulled its head off. Whatever that was.
Right. Cats will remove the heads of things as well, small prey.
Yeah.
But when you're talking
could
of
have been a tiger quoll.
yeah, it could have been
Because
too.
they're here. They're definitely here.
Yeah, and they like blood.
And about 10 k's towards Toowoomba from me, there was 15 ducks, chooks, and whatever in a pen, and they killed a whole lot of them one night.
Yep.
Everyone was dead, and they were all just left there, which tells me it's probably a tiger cat.
A quoll, yeah.
A quoll, yeah.
Yeah, well, they call them tiger cats in Tassie too. Eastern
Yeah,
quolls.
well,
Oh, not
I
eastern
was
quoll,
brought
it's
up
a
calling them
spotted tail
tiger
quoll.
cats.
Yeah, yeah.
And another lady who comes and sort of picks up stuff for charity boxes and stuff. We pick up a heap of stuff and she distributes it. She had all of her chooks dead as well.
Yeah, right.
12 months ago. So that's in about a probably 25-kilometre range.
Okay.
Those three kills. Anyway, I've not seen any wallabies up here with their heads off yet.
That was a pretty regular thing when you were a kid on the farm?
Yeah, used to kill our turkeys, and there was the turkeys never come on. They roosted in an oak tree, a she oak, and a bloody quoll got them, just killed them all around the neck, you know, and then just they were dead on the ground when I found them, every one of them.
Yeah, right.
Rightio. Now, Gordon Henderson worked with me, and he used to go to Wyangla Dam,
Right.
right? And he used to go trout fishing. And he was out shooting rabbits one afternoon, and he said he could hear this thing growling, and he said it came out from this rocky outcrop, and he said it had stripes on it and he put his scope on it. He said, I could have shot it if I wanted. And he said, he climbed up this bloody big rocky hill, and he said, it was steep, and he said he never stopped until he got right to the top. And he went back to camp after he got a few rabbits, and he drew a sketch of it. And then when he came back from his holidays, he brought it back in, and he showed me, and he said, Marco, he said, what do you think that is? He said, I saw this strange animal, and he said, I went straight back to camp as quick as I could, and he said, I drew this diagram. And I just looked at it, and I said, well, mate, I said, you've seen a Tasmanian tiger. And he said, where he came out of, he said there was this granite rocks, and he said there was a little cave in on top. He said it was only way into the cave, he said, was about 7 foot high. And he said the only way to get in was up the front and into the front of that cave. And he said he got in there, and he said there was sheep, carcasses, heads and whatever in there.
Yeah, right.
That's right where he saw the animal come out.
So it had a lair there.
Yeah.
It was feeding there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not the first time I've heard of that.
Yep. That one, I don't know whether it was reported or not. Right, now let's go from there. That was about 1988, 1986, something like that, I'd say.
Yep.
Right, now we'll go forward to that. I haven't seen anything between then and 1993.
Righto.
Now, I was so unlucky, I could have seen a tiger. He was only about 20 metres in front of the truck, and we were distributing stuff along this farm property to build a power line, and you'd go in and you'd drop off all the gear.
All the poles and stuff. Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, we came out of this paddock, and we had to go down a couple of 100 metres to get into the next paddock. See? So I opened the gate, and he drove the truck out the gate, and it was a Ford overhead cab truck, Trayback, and it had steps on the side of it to get up on the back. So I thought, I won't get in the front, I'll just stand on the back, and you just tap the bloody back of the cab.
And away you go.
And he knows you're on the back, and the gate's shut, and off he went, and he only went about 10 metres, and he stopped. And I thought, okay. I just stood there on the side. I couldn't see. Only place I could see was probably behind me if I turned around.
Yeah.
Because I was standing halfway up the height of the truck on the steps. Anyway. Yeah. And after about a minute, a minute's a fair while just to stop and not know what's going on. And I said, what's going on, Frank? And he said, we saw this weird looking dog thing here come through across the road. And I said, what did it look like? And he said, Brucey Moore, the other bloke in the front, he said, this is his interpretation of it and his words. It looked like a dog with a stick shoved up its arse. That's what he said. It looked like a dog with a stick shoved up its arse. A straight stick shoved up its arse. Now
it's got a stiff tail, yeah?
Right? Now, that was our last drop-off, and I said, righto, Frank, on our way back to the depot, could you call into my place, and I'll give you a look in a book. And I handed him Animals of Australia, and I said, there, have a look through that. And he pulled up, and he said, that's what I saw. It was a Tassie tiger, and Brucey Moore also had a look at it. I give it to them individually.
Yeah.
So that they didn't say, yeah, that's what I saw. Oh, yeah, that's what I saw. So I give it to Frank first, Frank Partland, then I give it to Brucey Moore, and they both said, that's what I saw. Right? That was in about 93.
Very good.
So that's how close I come.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing I was going to say to you, there was an old bloke in Coffs Harbour, and he had an old antique shop down Coffs Harbour Jet, and he had a tiger in there, a stuffed one, in his shop.
Really?
And me and the old man used to go down and have a look at it. This is after we shifted from Dorrigo Brick down to Coffs Harbour, and I started work down there when I was 16 or a bit more.
So this would have been very early 70s.
16, yeah, 1971.
Okay.
Right? And he had a Thylacine stuffed in his shop. Right? Now, I saw it, the old man saw it multiple times, and then he shifted the shop to Grafton. And he wouldn't let anybody upstairs in his shop. He'd say, no, that's out of bounds. No one goes up there. So I don't know what he had up there, but anyway, he wouldn't let us go up there and have a look. But he used to have his antique shop in Grafton.
Okay.
Right? Now, there was another bloke I know in Coffs Harbour used to go shooting a lot at Ebor. Did you go up to Ebor?
Rings a bell.
You went through Dorrigo?
Yep.
Did you go up to Armadale or?
Yeah.
Right, you would have went through a little place called Ebor.
Yep.
Right? And there's a nice stream there, and it goes down to the Ebor Falls.
Okay.
Falls,
Yep.
right? If you go up a bit further, and you would have turned left on the bitumen to go to Armadale, and there was a road goes straight ahead. And at that corner, that was the start of a national park. Right?
That's right. And the waterfall's on the left down there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. I know what you mean.
Now, when you turn to go to Armadale, that other dirt road goes up to Tinga and goes up and meets the New England Highway, right?
Yep.
Now, all that in there, or a hell of a lot of it's national park. Now, this bloke, he was my brother's brother-in-law, so he was just no relation to me, but he said he shot one at Ebor, and I questioned him. And, yeah, definitely, he said, yeah, it was a funny looking thing, and he said it was leaning down forward, he said. It looked like it had short front legs. Right?
Yep.
He didn't mention stripes, but he was close to the road, and the mailman came along, and he stopped. He said, "You all right, bud?" He said, "Yeah, no, yeah." He said, "I just shot this bloody thing," and he said, "I don't know what it is." And the mailman's had he had to hear from him, and he said, "What are you doing with it?" And he said, "Oh, I'm just going to leave it here." And he said, "Would you mind?" He said, "I'll take it." And he took it to Grafton somewhere. I don't know. I've tried to chase it up.
The mailman did.
The mailman, yeah. He must have been, he had a mail run from Grafton through to Wollomumbi and back.
I interviewed a fella from Patonga last year who went on a tour up that country back in the 80s, and there was an old jigger who used to be a part of the tour who had a little spot at the pub, and he'd talk to people there, and he had a skull of a thylacine.
Did he?
Apparently, yeah, and that was part of his talk. He talked about him being in that area up there.
Right.
That was out past between Armadale and, it was up in the New England Ranges somewhere there.
Yeah,
Can't remember the name of the town.
There's no doubt about it there.
Yeah.
The next thing was 1985.
Yep.
A builder from Coffs Harbour, and he was one of my mates. The way I knew him, he was a mate of mine from work. It was his father-in-law,
Okay.
Tommy Thurl, and he used to go for a trip every couple of years north or west or wherever he wanted to go, because he was a builder and he'd work 2 years and then he'd have 6 weeks off. Anyway, he went Mark's place for a barbecue, and Normie and Pearl were there, and he said, you get around the bush a lot, don't you, Mark? I said, yeah, mate, why is that? And he said, I saw an animal on the road, and he said it had stripes on it, and he said, I was about 50 metres past it. It was dead on the road, he said. And he said, I was about 50 metres past it, and he went to go back, and his wife said, you're not putting that bloody thing anywhere near this car, and sort of...
And that was that.
Bugger it, I'll just keep going. Anyway, away he went, and I said, yeah, probably a Tassie tiger. And he said, yeah, he said, that's what I thought it was too.
Bloody hell.
Anyway, that was at Ipswich. That was just south of Ipswich.
Yeah, okay. Not far from
Right.
Ipswich. Yeah, right. What year was that?
That was 85.
85. Okay.
That was, south of Ipswich, and I'd say he was coming up the Mount Lindsay Highway,
Yep.
and you end up at Ipswich.
Yeah, I know the road.
Right. And there's been sightings like you probably know about up north of Buderim.
Yeah, the old beast of Buderim, yep.
He said he was riding his horse. This is a story that came from, I don't know where it came from, but anyway, it was north of Buderim, and he said the bloke was riding his horse rounding up some cattle, and he said this thing was in the middle of the paddock, and he said it was eating a wallaby, and he said it just stood there while he walked his horse past it, and he said he just stopped and it just growled, and he had a look, and he just off he went, and he said that's another sighting that was probably a Tassie tiger.
Yeah, okay, yep.
That he thought was a Tassie tiger, right? And then there was another one woman up there, she said she's seen 2 years apart, she saw a Thylacine twice, 2 years apart, in the same exact spot.
Wow.
Just on the highway, in the bush, just off the highway near Caloundra.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Because she probably often used the same road, and she said it was late in the afternoon, and on nearly the same exact spot.
I had a nurse give me a sighting from up that way only a couple of weeks back.
Right. Yeah, well, where I am here, I'm about half a K to the side of the drop-off here, and it drops off pretty steep.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like I said, all of those gullies come up from down the bottom, you know, and that'll be a good pathway for them. And wherever there's chooks, I'll try to get them, I suppose.
Yeah, they don't mind a few barnyard fowls, and they'll take the odd sheep as well. And, goats. There's stories of them taking calves as well, small calves. They're not shy. If they want it, they'll take it.
There've been 1080 in here, about every 2 years, for the last...
Oh, it's horrific.
Years.
It should be banned. It's disgusting what they do.
Well, I know there's a lot of... I saw 5 half-bred dingoes out only 2 months ago, only about 10k from our place.
Yep.
They were feeding on the carcass down on the creek, and me and the young bloke saw them. Anyway, that's about all I got to tell you, but if you want to fire some questions at me, that's fine, and if you want to use it, you can.
No worries, mate. I've recorded the whole conversation.
Yeah.
I do that with all of them just so I don't forget the
that's
details. It's just easier,
It's all good.
No worries. So, how long were you in the area before you moved out? When you were 16, you said, down to Coffs Harbour.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Um,
I did a lot of rabbit shooting and a lot of spotlighting and a lot of, when I was young,
yeah.
I was all over the bloody joint.
Yeah.
I was all around Ebor, Dundurban, which is on that back road to Grafton, Bosterbrick, Moldiva was a big Gate Forest in Maldiva.
Okay.
Huge, I mean huge place that. You get lost in it even just taking the roads. And paddy melons in there were just everywhere.
Oh, cool.
Stacks and stacks of wildlife, but turkeys, scrub turkeys.
Yep.
And yeah.
Good country.
I was thinking, when I saw that thing on your program, I thought, bloody hell, you know, he was sitting about 4 k's from where there was a sighting.
Hey, you might be able to tell me something. What's the name of that eccentric fella from Dorrigo that owns that amazing second-hand shop that's never opened?
Oh, I don't know him.
There's some old geezer. He owns, you know where the train station is at Dorrigo out the back, the rail yards?
Yeah.
He owns all that as well, apparently.
Yeah, right.
Some eccentric fella that owns it all, and he shut it all down, and the second-hand shop he's got on the corner of the main street there, right by the Anzac Memorial.
That was J.H. Davis and Co.
Yeah, it's an amazing shop. There's some stuff in there, and she's all locked up. You can't get in and buy none of it, unfortunately.
Yeah, my sister was in there one day, and she rang me, and she said, he was actually open, and he said, he's got a marble bottle here with a bloody elephant on it, and he wants $150 for it. And I said, nah, it's too dear, don't buy it.
Tell him he's dreaming.
Yeah. Anyway, mate, I don't know him, but the railway line, I used to work there.
That would be a great tourism attraction if they did something with it. It's an awesome spot. There's so much stuff there.
Yeah. I was 15, and I got a job on the railway there, and I junior station assistant.
Excellent.
And the trains used to come up from Glenray.
No, they're all still steam engines then, yeah? With diesel was just coming in.
Yeah, they were diesel when I was there.
Oh, they were diesel, okay.
Yeah, and 45 class, and I used to turn them on the storeman used to turn them on the bloody turntable there because there were tracks stopped. See?
Yeah. For turning the engines around.
Yeah, they used to turn.
Is that how they? So the railways was largely to do with the logging, and when the timber ran out, the railways died. Yeah.
The tie down timber. Yeah.
Okay. When they ran out of cedar.
Tie it all down.
Yep.
Yeah, in the cars, and then they'd bring the train up once a week, and then they'd hook them all up and go.
Yeah.
They'd bring up parcels and stuff to service the shops.
It's beautiful country up there. I was amazed how lush it was. Just beautiful. You'd be getting a bit of cold up at Toowoomba at the moment, wouldn't you?
Oh, mate, it was 1 degree this morning.
It's like a Tassie summer's day.
Yeah, mate. I've been to Tassie 3 times.
Have you? Oh, yeah, cool.
And each time I made sure I looked, and you know what? I was going around near Sheffield, and I went down into this road that went around where there was about 90 of us. We were on motorbikes, old bikes.
Oh, yeah.
Vintage bikes.
Yep.
Anyway, we had a week there before they all turned up. So Lance and I, we used to come back to the boys around all these little places and along the creeks and wherever we could ride our bike. Anyway, I come around to Bend one day, and there's this animal laying on the side of the road and it had stripes on it. And I thought, bloody hell. And I pulled up real quick, and when I got to it, it was...
a bandicoot.
It was just the light shining through the bush.
Oh, okay.
On a paddy melon.
On a paddy melon.
I
Got you.
I hit the jackpot. No.
Not quite.
What's the fee?
There are bandicoots down here with stripes, eastern barred bandicoots, but they're grey with white stripes.
Yeah.
So they're a bit hard to confuse with the thylacine, and they don't get nowhere near as big either. And they have do you still get bandicoots up that way, up near Toowoomba and stuff, or?
Heaps. I pick them up off the road, and I delivered one. She was just killed, and she was still warm. I picked her up, and there's a lady up, only a K away that
Does fauna rescue.
wild stuff. But
Yeah.
anyway, I rang her up. It was 9 o'clock in the night. She said, "No, bring them up, And it had 3 pretty good developed babies, and they were biggest I've ever seen in a bandicoot.
Yeah, right.
Babies. And they're long-nosed bandicoots.
Excellent.
There's plenty of them here.
That's great. That's great to hear. Yeah, well, when you've got plenty of dingoes around, you don't have as many foxes, and a lot of the little herbivores actually hang in there a bit better if there is dingoes around, believe it or not.
Yeah, right.
They actually do a good thing in the environment when it comes to biodiversity. Not so much with farmers, but with the biodiversity, they're an assistant.
Yeah.
That's been proven a couple of times. So it's a fine line, though, between dogs on farms and dogs in national parks, isn't it?
Yeah. If you want to find out about that bloke who lived at Brooklana and sighted that one there,
Yeah.
his name was Keith Moxham.
How old would he be
M-O-X-O-M.
now? You'd be 70 nearly, wouldn't you?
I'd be 69.
Yep.
this year.
Yep, that's what I thought when you said 55. How old would Keith Moxon be if he's still alive? In his 80s or something?
He was my maths professor.
Oh, okay.
So, and he was 6'8" or something.
He'd probably
And he
be
drove
dead
a
then.
Mini Minor
Yep.
with a converted seat. A Mini Minor. And he used to drive from Brooklana to teach school every day at Dorrigo, which is about 45 k's, I suppose.
Yeah, okay.
Windy gravel road.
Yep. Oh,
Yeah.
this is committed.
Yeah. And he's the bloke who told the paper about it.
Yep.
It was printed in the Don Dorrigo Gazette, I think.
Okay, I'll look that up on Trove, see if I can find it.
I don't.
And what year was that one?
What year?
Yeah.
That was last year of high school, so it was 1988
Oh, 1968, I think you said.
or 9, yeah.
Yep, okay, no worries. All right. Well, it's been great
About
talking to you, Mark.
68, I think.
Yeah, I think you said that originally.
Yeah.
That's the year I was born.
Was it?
Yeah.
Ah, well, there you go. Well, anyway, thanks for the hard work and stuff that you do.
Oh, that's all right, mate. Someone's got to do it.
Yeah.
What did Cheryl
Sooner or
Curnow
later.
used to say? Keep the bastards honest.
Yeah, sooner or later, mate,
Yeah, it's got to
All
give.
come out, mate, eh?
Something's got to give. I think the whole thing's going to collapse, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, mate. Great talking
right,
to you. If you get any other info, feel free to get back in touch.
Have you got a phone number?
Yeah, you got a pen and paper?
Have?
It's 0402
Yep.
530
Yep.
503.
All right. Okay, mate. It's good talking to you.
Yeah, you too, buddy. Thanks very much.
Keep up the good work, mate. But I've been thinking about a trail camera, you know.
Well, if you know where to put one, there's, they're reasonably cheap now. You can get them for about $130. If you go on eBay, you can get them for about $60 each, actually.
All right.
On eBay, they're not too dear.
Ah,
Have a look, see what you reckon.
yeah.
All right. Good on you, mate.
All right, mate.
Have a good night. Thanks very much.
And good night. Bye.
Bye-bye.